were boring. Now, if you read the stories about the Yankees in the 1950s and Mickey Mantle, maybe not quite as boring as it worked out. But ultimately, we wanted our athletes to be more colorful. And we're in Alabama, probably the first athlete who began the colorful structure, although I don't think he was probably that colorful in the sense, was Joe Namath. He was an anti-establishment figure in the 60s. He was a cultural icon of change in that regard. Namath pales in comparison today. What did he do? Wore white shoes and guaranteed a Super Bowl victory? Wore pantyhose? Okay. Not big. But what began our marketers as sports, and you think about this, who do you think is important in sports? It's the marketer. It's the marketer. The marketers began to take us down a road where we had to push the envelope of being a little bit more daring, a little bit bolder, a little bit crazier. We needed to be a little more outrageous to the point that, you know, the first version of Andre Agassi 1.0 with the hair and the colorful clothing, as opposed to Andre Agassi 2.0, the guy who's like, you know, got no hair and is like culturally aware. The first one did really well marketing. The second one depended on his playing ability. So we really reached this critical mass of people challenging the culture of sports, challenging its mores, and you know what? It didn't matter. In fact, it attracted fans if we had controversial figures in sports. It was very helpful to be controversial. Because you know what? You were all thinking about other stuff. If you're dozing off on me and I said something really crazy now, you'd all like, oh. And that's what these sports advertisers were. They were the equivalent of somebody saying something really crazy. But fans kept coming back, right? You guys have lived through. Who's Alabama fans in the crowd? Anybody? One? Did Alabama do anything to fall out with you?
No.
Exactly. And that's because you're a fan, and fan is short for fanatic, right? We'll come back as fans, but there's one problem now in this crisis. And why we're in crisis, and I put up two examples. There was an old Saturday Night Live skit about the completely drugged Olympics. And it was a skit where the guy bends over to lift weights, and his arms fall off and blood starts gushing out. You probably don't remember this, you might be too young. But you know, you'd go to see that. You would go to see the completely drugged Olympics because ultimately in the drugged Olympics, what do you have? You have the best. You have the ultimate of human performance. All right? Perhaps drug-induced human performance, but human performance nonetheless. We like to see the best. And you remember the Saturday Night Live guys with George Wendt and De Beers? The super fans. Fans want to see their team. They want to be connected. But here's the problem for sports, and this is why player behavior and the fact that certain people are turning away from sports is really problematic to the business model of sports, is because fans just don't count as much anymore. It's the corporate client. And I did some numbers, and these are generic NFL numbers. But fans don't matter. Who matters? So the season ticket holders, 60,000 season ticket holders at $50 a game, times 10, because they make you buy the 2 preseason games too, in addition to the home games. They're generating $30 million from. The club seat holder, which is actually now to me the fat white professional, male, who can persuade his wife, honey, I'd like to get that $5,000 and have the plush seat to come to the game. And you can come once or twice too, and it'll be indoors. And you get a drink, and you can entertain clients. You put 3,000 or you put 6,000 of those in at 5,000 a head, and suddenly 6,000 people equals 60,000. One club seat holder is as important as 10 season ticket holders. And now the next one, the luxury box owner, the luxury box renter. Oh, 200 of those, and the new stadiums are all hitting 200, at a very conservative $300,000 a year, has now generated them as twice as important, or as important as each of the other two. Jerry Jones in Dallas would actually build his entire stadium of luxury boxes if he thought he could. There's an interesting twist, and it kind of fits Judge Carroll's line. Washington Redskins, their stadium has 200 luxury boxes, but it's never sold out its club seats. It's the one ticket you can get to the Redskins. And it's an interesting cultural phenomenon just in Washington. Because who goes to these club seats in Washington? Lobbyists and elected officials. And the elected officials don't necessarily want to be seen in a big club room talking to lobbyists by other lobbyists. But they like the luxury box because it's private. You can go in and out and do it. They could probably sell 200 more luxury boxes in Washington if they wanted to. But I'm not even talking about now the crazy people that put their name on your stadium as an advertising opportunity, or the people who put in-stadium advertising up as a revenue stream. I'm not even talking about those folks who are multiples of this in some cases. But you know what all these latter two categories are too? They're also contractually obligated income because you sign up for multiple years. Season tickets, game tickets are often sold on a one-year basis. So if your team's bad, or if it rains, or something bad happens, your income isn't set. These are at least contractually obligated on a 3 to 5 year plan, just like your advertising, your naming rights